September 18th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. On today's show, I'm pleased to have the legendary head boys soccer coach for the Glastonbury program. His name, Coach Landers. Coach, it's great to have you on, man.
Chris, thanks, man. I love what you're doing for high school sports, promoting the athletes, promoting the coaches and all the sports. It's absolutely fantastic. High school sports is the greatest thing.
I really do appreciate it, Coach. I know, the football side, there's a lot of drama going on, but you guys are playing. Soccer's playing for girls and boys. There's a lot of rules, and there's some new nuances to it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to hit on yourself, Coach. You've been with Glastonbury for as long as I've been born, 27 years, and you look like you're still fiery as ever, and you still have all the passion. And it's, congratulations on what you've been doing with Glastonbury. Just take me into the 27 years.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's been a long time. It's gone by so fast. I graduated from Glastonbury High School in 1989 and played soccer at Eastern Connecticut for Franz Innocent, and then worked at the Hartford Current Sports Department for one of the greatest high school sports journalists ever in Bo Kalinsky. And I worked there for 6.5 years before moving on to ESPN and working there as well for 7 years before getting into teaching. So in the coaching aspect, I became an assistant coach for the legendary Ken Mailer, who coached at Glastonbury for 30 years, won over 330 games or something crazy like that. And I got into coaching because of my father. He coached at Wethersfield for over 25 years. So the coaching tree for me is pretty tight in terms of those two guys just being my mentors and teaching me what to do. And, I owe it all to all three of those guys, to be honest with you, for my passion for sports and everything like that. It's been an incredible run, incredible ride. I've coached, many different sports, from girls lacrosse to boys lacrosse to helping out with girls basketball, and just trying to be involved in much of the school as I possibly can and be with the kids. And, I just absolutely love it. And you're right. I mean, I feel I got more energy this morning. I'm just anxious to get to practice later today and get the kids going.
When did you get the itch to start coaching soccer? Because I know when I've talked to various coaches, they've told me that they've gotten the itch to coach after they were done playing. For some, it was one day they were talking to a friend. I mean, they've told me so many stories. For you, when did you get that itch?
Yeah, ever since I was 5 years old, going to Wethersfield High School, I was always on the fields of Wethersfield High School with my dad, who coached soccer there. And, the Eagles mean a lot to me. There's no doubt about it. They mean a lot to our family. He also coached girls basketball as well. So, I was always around sports growing up, with my brother, who had since passed. But, sports was big in our family. My dad was big into sports, and there's no doubt I was probably into coaching. I would run around in my front yard playing sports and announcing games to myself, as crazy as it sounds. But it was the old CCIL days with like Manchester and Hall, and Glastonbury was in the CVC, I think, back then. And just, I loved high school sports for the minute I was born. So here I am still doing it.
Do you think being a part of the program as you were kind of slowly becoming a young man, and then obviously you branched off? I mean, you mentioned you went to the Hartford Current, you worked at ESPN for a little bit, but then you decided to come back. Do you think that because you were a part of it at a younger age, it's kind of almost like, I've noticed being able to bring back alumni as coaches and so forth, it kind of shows the next generation, hey, this is what you can do. And I feel like being able to do that at Glastonbury is a very positive thing.
Right. I, when I was at the Hartford Current and then, getting the opportunity to work at ESPN, I mean, who wouldn't take that opportunity? I was substitute teaching at the time. And believe it or not, as long as I stayed away from college football, I could still coach, because college football in the fall, I'd have to travel a lot. So I worked a lot on the NHL at ESPN and did the 95, 96, 97 Stanley Cup finals, did the NFL draft, all those great things, the World Cup 98. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. But, ultimately my own family, my wife, Amy, and daughters, Chloe, Mackenzie, and Kelsey. And it was family that won me over, and that family included the team, and that included the kids. And, I just felt I had more to give in terms of coaching and teaching. So I think that's why I put the ESPN days away. I certainly miss them. I keep in touch with a lot of the guys there, and I've always thought about what it would have been like to stay. But I'm really happy with the decision I made, because I've been able to work with kids all my life, and that's a dream come true.
At some point people kind of see that, they see that maybe the grass is greener on the other side. Other people kind of want to stick to what they're doing and maybe think it'll get better over time. But for you, it kind of seems like that you saw that not to say that the writing was on the wall, but family seems to be very, very important to you, and I can understand why, because ESPN, and I strive to hopefully one day work there. Who knows if that will happen? But it seems like family is very, very big. And not to say that they left a ultimatum to you, but they said, we want to spend more time with you, we want to see you, we want to be able to enjoy your spend time as a family. And it seemed like you made the decision. People can agree or disagree. I think it was the perfect decision, because what you've done at Glastonbury, man, the amount of championships, the amount of winning. I've talked to a couple players who have graduated and gone off to do other things prior to this interview, and I've heard nothing but fantastic things about you, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, families first. My dad lives across the street. He's 80, and outside of COVID, he still comes to practice every day. Not right now. Hopefully, when the rules open up a little bit, he'll be able to come back and attend. And my wife has been so supportive in terms of what I've been able to do. As my kids, they love the fact that I'm out there coaching, and I want to see them play as well. So that's a balancing act. And I remember in '99 when I took over the team for a year. We made it to the finals. My dad's team made it to the finals with the girls, and I had to leave at the end of the semifinals to go to work on the World Figure Skating Championships in France, and I had to announce to the kids that I was leaving. So I missed the state final game. It was tough being in Paris and the kids playing, and they ultimately won the game in overtime. And I came home 2 weeks later to 2 stretch limousines and a minibus at the airport picking me up with a plaque and everything. And it was those moments that I was kind of like, I need to find something else to do, because I could have more of an impact on younger kids and just be involved in their lives. And I feel like trying to build that family is so key and such a key ingredient. And I appreciate all the great things that maybe those former players said. I'm sure we had some tough days out there as well, but that's the way my father always did it. And the amazing thing is, I'm only the 4th head coach in the history of the school, which is unbelievable. Between Ken Mailer and I, we've over the last 51 years, we've only been the 2 coaches in the entire soccer program, which is just unbelievable.
Well, now that you said that, I kind of, you think about some of the most successful franchises in sports. The Yankees have had, yes, they've had a number of managers, but over the last couple of years, it's been Joe Torre, Joe Girardi. Now it's Aaron Boone. You think of the Steelers. They've had, what, 3 coaches?
Oh, Steelers, baby. Chuck Noll and I, the same birthday, January 5th. I'm a big time Steelers fan. So.
Oh, so you must have been happy when they beat up the Giants. Thank you, by
Oh,
the way. For doing
oh
that.
yeah. Yep. Yep. But you're right. I mean, there's that continuity. There's the, like Tomlin says, right? The standard is always the standard, and that's the way it's kind of been for us. The standard has always been the standard. Not too many things have changed for us in an awfully long time. So a lot of the things that Coach Mailer put into place, I brought over, and obviously changed a few of my own. And, and having such a legend across the street to be able to pick his brain on virtually anything has just been unbelievable. I mean, who could have a better assistant coach than somebody like my father, who just, had done it all himself. So, just being able to do that is special to me.
And not to say that the standard has changed over the last 27 years, but you mentioned some of the rough years. Was there ever a point where you kind of had to change, not so much your coaching, but maybe kind of how you went about the game itself? Because obviously through 27 years, I mean, from when I was first born till now, there wasn't iPhones. Now there's iPhone 30s.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. I mean, we use the huddle program a lot in terms of recording our games and reviewing some of the things that we do. And we use it to a tool to teach, and there's definitely some call out sessions and stuff in terms of what we don't do, but that's just to correct our mistakes. So that's been a good platform for us. I think you see all the social media and being able to use it appropriately and reach kids, and their world is full with Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter and things like that. So how do you actively use those resources as a teaching tool and supporting and promoting your program? And also, to be honest with you, Chris, involving yourself with other programs within your school and within the state. I've been reading an awful lot about the football thing, and my heart goes out to all the athletes and all the coaches. And I've just been amazed at some of the amazing things that the football coaches are doing out there for their kids, and what the kids are doing in return for their communities and their teams. That's been really special to read about. And, it's unfortunate that we're limited in time where decisions have to be made. And I think everybody's just confused as to why, summer leagues were played and why can't we get this going, and it's just, there are different things that you need to use to reach the kids. There's no doubt about it. And you got to be willing to adapt and change. And I try to read as many coaching books as I can each summer and things like that. And just learn from the greats, right? Like Wooden and Belichick and Krzyzewski and Gino, Phil Jack, you know what I mean? Like the list could go on, and you can take pieces of what they do and implement it into your program to hopefully build that culture and foundation.
Has there been any point where you noticed that has soccer kind of, I mean, the way I think about this, like basketball used to be centers, go to the hoop, you drive in the paint. Now it's you shoot threes. Baseball used to be bunt, hit and run, use the athleticism. Now it's walk, strikeouts, home runs, the three true outcomes. Football used to be ground and pound, 3 yards and a cloud of dust.
Throwing
Now
medals.
it's Big 12, throw the football 80 times. We
Yep.
don't care. We're just going to sling it. Has soccer in some ways, because I'm not too familiar as far as noticing the difference, and I figure I'm asking you because you're the legendary coach. Have you noticed a difference as far as soccer like those other sports?
Well, I think any coach is going to have their own philosophy in terms of what they want to do. Like, some coaches are maybe going to play more of a long ball style. Some coaches are going to play maybe a possession style. But, the technical aspects of the game and of the player have definitely changed, definitely improved throughout the years, from maybe the old school teams of the 80s, high pressing, turn the ball over and, go to goal type thing. And win off of free kicks and set pieces and all those kind of things with some high pressing defense. Now it's about more, keeping the ball more and moving the ball around and kind of maybe tiring out a few of those defenses because you can keep the ball so much and try to break teams down a lot more and better with the more technical players that you have, right? I mean, anytime you could put a bunch of players out there that can play 1-2 touch and keep the ball on the ground, sure, the game's definitely going to change. And I think ultimately each year is different. You have to know what you have, what cars are in your parking lot to be able to play whatever formation you want. Or, that's a great thing about high school, right? We lose kids every 4 years. They graduate and go out the door. So and you get a new fresh group every year. So it's you look at the Patriots and what they've done in their system, and they get those players back. We don't get those players back. We got to try to figure out what players we have and then figure out what type of style we're going to play. But yeah, we've definitely become a lot more of a possession oriented team based on the technical development of all the players and their opportunities to play soccer.
Have you had to change your coaching style? Because, I don't know if you're basically like Bill Belichick, where you say very little, but you get your point across, or are you more like Mike Tomlin, your favorite coach, who is very boisterous, very loud, but is a player's coach, but will tell you like it is? Which one of you, I would say, which one of those two are you?
I think you have to choose those moments. You've got to, each player has a different personality. Each player has a different learning style. And not everything is going to work with the same individual, Sure. I bet when I was your age, right. It was Bill Cowher and the loudmouth coaches back then, right. I'm sure I said a few things to my players to get them motivated. And yeah, maybe I have a calmer demeanor at times, but I still got that fire where I still think that, trying to reach the kids and motivate them, and you gotta be find out what motivates them too. Not everything's going to motivate the same individual and same athlete. So the mental aspect of the game is so amazing to me, just in terms in any sport. I would say mental toughness is like one of the key ingredients along with chemistry. So how do you bring that about in your team and your players? And yesterday, I walked off the field and I was pleased with what I saw in terms of what we were doing out there. That I finally saw some engagement from everybody, that they were supporting each other and talking and communicating, and just those small things you look for. So I don't know. I mean, if we're down 2-0 at halftime, I'm not sure what that's going to look like versus up 2-0. But it depends on the moment. It depends on the time. I don't know. To me, it's just what you feel. It's your passion, your enthusiasm, and being able to read your players and read your team on what they need, to be honest with you.
I almost feel like this year will be one of the, I don't want to say difficult years, but being able to read your players and understand what's going on because of we're in a COVID season. There's a lot of rules that kind of are in place for this season in particular that teams are going to have to make adjustments with. I talked to Coach Ocho from Montville a couple of days ago, and I asked him if maybe the no sliding, the headers and all that would affect maybe his defense because I didn't know if he had a very stout defense. And he kind of gave me a very interesting perspective on that. So I will ask the same question to you. Do you think the rules will affect your team in some way?
I think they've kind of positively affected our team at this point. You know, we're working out in groups of 10. Half of the alphabet comes for an hour, and then there's 4 teams of 10 in each corner of the field. And then the other half of the alphabet comes in for the other hour. And again, there's 4 teams of 10. So we have about 80 kids out there, which is pretty standard for us. But what we've been able to do is take those returning varsity guys, and we've been able to spread them out into those groups. So for the last 2 weeks, you've had, an incoming freshman working out with Captain Zach Gardner or Captain Matt Gusta or a few of our seniors. So, that's a big step, and I get it. But in terms of a culture standpoint and being able to look towards the future and giving these guys an opportunity, whatever that amount of time might be, to be able to learn the ways of our program, I think for me has been pretty special to watch in terms of how the guys are trying to go about that and teach these guys. And we had a senior meeting yesterday, and I love every kid in our senior class, and they've been awesome. But they've really embraced the fact that this could be a week, this could be a day, this could be 2 weeks, and their standard of success right now is along the lines with me is what are you going to leave the rest of the program with? How are you going to impact the young kids around you? And they've embraced that tremendously. So I think that way it's been a positive change.
Glastonbury's success, in my opinion, kind of starts off when they're freshmen because you kind of, you show them the ways. You have opportunities to be able to say, this is how we do it. This is how we don't do it. Now, has COVID in some ways, because of the rules and the regulations, affected that? Because the way I think about it is, prime example, the NFL. Rookies did not have OTAs. They didn't have minicamp. They were just thrown right in and said, hey, go get them. And some rookies, to a certain degree, struggled. So do you think that because of this, there may be a little bit of a learning curve and it may take a little bit longer with the younger Glastonbury boys soccer players?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like I said, we've been in these groups of 10, so no rosters have been made. I've had individual conversations with each player so far. We're not going to make a roster until we can compete. Hopefully what's going to be on Monday, when we can branch out and have some competition and play some either 7v7 or 8v8 or 11v11, whatever that might look like, so that we can give each kid an equal opportunity to showcase what they can do. Obviously they've been able to do the skill part. They've been able to do the conditioning part. But the final piece to the puzzle is really being able to play the game and anticipate the game and understand the game. And, that's kind of the final assessment tool, if you will. And, we haven't been able to do that. We've been able to teach different aspects of the game, but really taking all that we've been able to teach and then, the unique opportunity in tryouts to be able to go do that. I mean, usually tryouts is like, what can you do for me now, right? This year's tryouts is going to be like, hey, what can you take out of the last 2 weeks and implement into these upcoming 2 or 3 days? And if it takes 3, it takes 4, whatever it might be. We just want to make sure that we get it right and have the kids walking out of there saying, you know what, we got a fair shot, we got a fair opportunity. But yeah, I think in further development of the team, we've always been a 1 day at a time program. So, we might not come out of the gates flying, but I don't think that's really important right now.
No, I don't think it's, I think the biggest part is just making sure that the players are comfortable because I've always believed it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because,
right.
I mean, you've worked at ESPN, you've seen amount of teams. I mean, think about it. How many teams have you seen that have gone 6-0, 8-0, start off red hot, pardon me, and then because they hit their peak, then they go down. You want to hit the peak at the perfect time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I go back to 2006, when we were 5-7-4 and a 33 seed going into the tournament. And, we were playing well towards the end of the year, and we just got it going at the right time and, made it all the way to the state semifinals. I think we played 5 games in 9 days and traveled over 475 miles by school bus or something crazy like that. And, that was just, we finished 9-8-4 that year, and it was just fun to watch that development. But that's always been for us, like we focus on the daily aspects of the program. How are we going to get better as a player and as a person each day? And then hopefully, like you said, hopefully at the end, you've kind of climbed that mountain and you're reaching your peak and everybody's playing well and supporting each other and the family is coming together. And that's really where it can be pretty special.
Coach Landers, I really do appreciate you coming on. I have one more question for you real quick. Kind of give me a preview of this Glastonbury team for this season.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of interchangeable parts on our end. Our goal is going to be able to work everybody hard in practice each day, and then hopefully when we do that, everybody's going to get an equal opportunity to play. I don't know what those minutes are going to look like, but we want to try to get as many guys on the field as possible this fall, just to give everybody opportunity to be out there and showcase what they can do. So, I think that's going to be manageable for us and a challenge to our staff, which my staff of Chris Fazzolo and Casey Warren and Freddie Escudero and Matt Needham and Dan Schilke, just tremendous guys. Like, we know what comes first for these kids, and they want to play, and it's up for us to provide the foundation and platform and practice for them to put in the work. And then it's up to them to do it. And then it's up for us to decide, getting them on the field and trying to get everybody out there. And it might be a lot of kids and it could be difficult, but everybody deserves that opportunity as far as I'm concerned this fall. It's going to be a very special year.
Coach Landers, once again, thank you so much for being able to come on and talk about the program and yourself and such. It was a pleasure to be able to have you.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. And hey, you're welcome to come back on anytime during the season as well to be able to talk about it. Seriously, the door is open for you anytime.
I love it, man. Have a great day.
You too. That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody. Be well.